Hi everyone, it's Kelly. We're back to another exciting, I hope, tutorial. This one is going to be really simple, and simple is nice sometimes. I'm going to show you how I make my slip pockets. This is a slip pocket that's going to go in the Lola, the everlasting Lola, it feels like, that I'm currently creating. You're going to want a piece of material that is 12 inch by 9 inch, 9 inch wide if you will, and you're going to want a 1 inch by 9 inch banding. Mine just happens to be the same fabric, excuse me, as my lining, but you could use vinyl or anything you like. So you're going to want to cut your slip pocket piece so that one piece is 6 1/4 and one piece is 5 3/4. And the reason why is we're going to attach the band to the shorter piece. And when we attach it and fold it up, it'll be the same size as this. So not particularly difficult. So what you're going to do is take your band, put it face down, and you're going to, with your clips, attach it, making sure the ends match up and the top. And we're going to clip in place. We're going to take this to the sewing machine and we're going to sew just 1/4 inch all the way across. And then we're going to press it. And when we press this piece open, like I said before, it'll now be the same size as the back of your slip pocket. So let me go sew this and I'll take you to the sewing machine and we'll go from there. And we're to the sewing machine and have our thread, black thread, surprise, and we're simply going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance along the top. And you want to backstitch on the start and the stop. I did this method, I mean it's based on other people's methods too, but I just thought I'd rather have the band on top encased, and I just thought it was prettier to use sometimes matching fabric. But again, you can use most anything, as long as it's not too thick. So, simple, easy sewing. Give her a haircut. And we're going to take her to the iron. I always say sewing machine, I know that. This time we're going to go with the iron. And we're going to press this so it's up like that. And that is the beginning of the band piece. So very simple. I'm going to go press it. I'll be right back. Okay, so we have our piece with the binding pressed. I pressed the seam upwards, and now we're going to put this right sides together on the larger piece that we previously cut, and we're simply going to clip around, matching up all the edges. It should match your bottom piece the same size. If for any reason it doesn't, follow Kelly's rule of thumb and lop it off, but it does fit. All right, so we are just clipping in place. Get a few more clips here. And then I like to, I'm sure you all do it too, but these little red clips, they're my stop and start clips. So they remind me to stop and start, at least when I do it with intention. So I'm putting 2 red clips right there, because that's where I'm going to start and stop my sewing, so that we can create a jog, create our turn hole, and everything will be hunky-dory. Okay. So now we're going to sew, starting at our little red start mark, and just like we had done before, we're going to go up about 1/4 inch or a little bit more, backstitch, go back, pivot, and we're just doing about 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, maybe a little bit less. I'm going to do 3/8 on the bottom and 1/4 inch on the sides and the top. And as we get to the top, you want to get almost where you would normally pivot, but you're going to stop right there. You're going to turn your pocket piece to a little bit to the diagonal, take 1 stitch, you're going to turn it so it's even now, and continue with the 1/4 inch seam allowance down the top. I'm actually taking more like 1/8 of an inch on top, to be honest, so just do as I say and not as I do, or the other way around. That was my mother's favorite saying. Anyhow, it's more like 1/8 of an inch on the top. And we're going to get to the end, and just like before, we're going to go turn it, take 1 stitch, come down the side, could do that same pivot on the corners, on the bottom. I don't know why I don't, but I didn't. So, and this time, I'm gonna go down to where we remember was our little red mark, our red clip. We're gonna flip it, back stitch, and we want to trim just a little diagonal piece off of all the corners. Like so. You could probably trim the sides if you want to a little bit. You don't have to, but I will. And then, for the mess, I'm going to use my pokey tool. Sorry for leaving you. This is a metal chopstick, but it's my favorite pokey tool. And you're just gonna pull your pocket to be through the turn hole. A lot of people, when they make their slip pockets, they have you pull through the top and then seal the top up when you attach it to the lining, but I like it better on the bottom. Less option for it to be seen, number one, and this it's just prettier. Okay, so use your pokey tool and gently poke out the corners. Maybe I'll show you what I'm doing instead of doing it on my lap. Sorry about that. You just want to get all the corners poked out nicely, especially though up on the top, because you will see once this is all done, because of that little jog that you did on the top, you're going to get a really nice edge. It's going to be a squared edge instead of sometimes they poke in, they poke out. So that is the beginning of our slip pocket. What I'm going to do after is go to the iron. I'm going to press it nicely, make sure all the corners are okay. So we have taken our slip pocket to the ironing board. We pressed it. You want to make sure that the edge is nice and flat, doesn't get folded under or accidentally, you know how that happens. And we have pressed our opening so it's nice and flat. And I like to do this, it's up to you, it depends upon your machine, but I will take a little piece of leather tape, double-sided tape. This is the real thing, not that tape used for the zipper pockets. But I will put a little piece right here in the closure. You can get it a little bit higher so you may not catch it when you sew. Because I find that when I attach the pocket to the lining, sometimes this little opening will shift, and we don't want that. So a little tape, if you can get it off, will help with that. So we're just putting a little piece of double-sided tape in the pocket, line up the edges nicely, and there's that. And the last thing we're doing before we go to the sewing machine is we're going to, and this is optional, but I like to, we're going to top stitch. Now you could top stitch on top of the white band, or you can top stitch right below it. I think it'll look prettier below it. So I've changed my stitch length to about 4 1/4, and I'm just going to do it. I use the edge of my foot as a guide. I use this foot for everything. I don't think I take it off except for when I'm sewing vinyl, obviously, and then it wouldn't budge. Okay. It's just a small finishing touch that maybe nobody will ever notice, but we notice. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty. So now we will go to our desk and we'll attach this to the lining, and then sew her up, and we'll be done. Nice, easy project for a lovely Friday day. Okay, so here we are, making wonderful progress. We have our lining piece, we have our slip pocket, our ruler. We're going to come down about 2.5, I'm going to say actually 2 1/4 inches. I changed my mind. It's my prerogative. Okay, and then we're going to make sure that the pocket is lined up with the bottom of the ruler, centered on there, and we'll take some pins. And we're just going to pin just a couple right now. One there, maybe one over here, because I want to leave the side over here open. So if I put pins there, it'll be wonky. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to come over. I think it's from the edge of here, 4 1/4. So you've got 1, 2, 3. Measured over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1/4 inch. I'm going to verify that real quick. Make sure I did it right. 4 1/2 inches. See? Always best to double check. 4 1/2 inches over from the left. And we're going to use our Hera marking tool, because I don't really want to draw with a chalk or anything, because it might show up. So use your Hera marker and just come on down the side with your marker a couple of times, and then you can continue to pin. Get some pins here. Now we can pin in place, and we're going to go. Here we are at last. Oh, sorry. Now, so what we're going to do is, like I said before, we're going to stitch the line that we just drew with the Hera marker. I'm going to, excuse my arm, get a little bit of light here. Just start right at the pocket, at the top of the band, if you will. Do a couple of stitches. You want to try to avoid going beyond the band, because it'll look funny, but not the end of the world if you do. So we're just following that line that we drew. Put our stitch length back to 3.25, and we're going to get to the bottom of the pocket. And we're going to slowly stop at the bottom, back stitch, and pull that off. And the next thing we're going to do is go ahead. We're going to sew around the edges. What I do, something I think I learned from Namrata, but we're going to start at the diagonal of the pocket, and we're going to sink our needle so that it's right at the top of the, we're going to sew across at a diagonal, stopping at the 1/8 inch seam allowance on the other side. Go back up on the same, go back, and one more time. And then we're going to go 1/8 inch all the way around. That little diagonal will reinforce that area, because there's lots of stress when you're coming in and out of that pocket taking your phone in, taking your phone out, putting your sunglasses in. So it's a nice little reinforcement. And you can also put a rivet there as well if you'd like. And it seems like whenever you want to pivot, I've learned that when I'm ready to pivot, it's like, no, one more stitch. And just something, without fail, it's usually correct. So kind of use that. And now as we're sewing down the bottom, our turn hole is not kitty-wampus because we secured it with some double-sided tape. One more stitch. One more. Yeah, that's good. All right. Then as we get to the top, we're going to stop at the band where the band begins. And we're going to do a pivot, and we're going to do that same reinforcement stitch at an angle. Being careful not to go. And that's it. Give her a haircut. Take out the pins. One more little missed thread there. Sorry about that. Okay, and she's done. So there you have your slip pocket that has a matching band up here. There's enough room on this side for a pair of sunglasses and on this side for a good sized phone. And so that's your simple how to put a banded slip pocket in any lining. Of course, this is meant for the Lola, so she's smaller and only has 2 pockets, but the larger bags can have a larger slip pocket and even one more pocket. So that's it. Everyone have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.